Hello, hello. Happy Wednesday, my CNC brothers and sisters. I'm Garrett with IDC Woodcraft right there. And welcome to another CNC Wednesday evening hangout live with me and me. Unfortunately, got a last minute call from Kate that she is not going to be able to make it tonight. She had some personal thing come up. So it's just me. We did throw out an invite to bring Mark on, but those who have been chatting with Mark knows that he is out there barbecuing and didn't invite any of us. So as Julianne said, Mark, you can certainly take your webcam out to the grill. We would not have a problem with that at all. So anyway, it's weather's starting to get really nice out now. So I see numbers are not as high as they normally are, but hey, it's Wednesday night, weather's good, and here we are to sit down and talk CNC. So in the background, we have our manager, Julianne. Say hi, Julianne.
Hello. Just
And
me in the background for now.
just her in the background. Liberty has not come on board yet, and we won't see Kate, and perhaps we'll see Mark in a little bit. So Julianne will be making sure whatever questions you have are starred, and I will do my best to answer them. Running solo tonight. I'm scared. I'm scared. I don't know what to do. I'm all alone. So, but I do want to start this off with our general house rules. Let's be kind and courteous. No nasty comments. And if they come, then we gently remind you to be polite. And if that can't work, then we will take you out of the stream. We have had that to do that before. So, CNC, we're creators. We like to do all kinds of stuff. All right. With that being said, I got a couple things I want to share with you, but first, excuse me, I want to say hello to some of our CNC brothers and sisters. So, Julianne, you get to announce the winner of the first person who signed on the minute we posted the live stream. Who was it?
Oh my gosh. Drum roll. Big star. Mark Lindsay.
Mark. Man, he seems to win every race. Who was in behind him? Oz. So Oz was certainly in behind him. And hey, everybody, give Oz a big thumbs up or whatever you do, because the man's got himself a new girlfriend. So that's it doesn't get better when you get new love. So congratulations, Oz. And so I'm going to say hello to a few people, then tell you a couple things that I'm doing right now, and then we'll get into the questions. So of course we got Oz and Mark and All-Star for now, okay, from New Zealand. Wow, very cool. Welcome from across the pond there. And with Kevin Rich, now Kevin, he came, he gave us a project he made. He came by the IDC Woodcraft. Can't really call it a store because we're not a store. Most of our business is online, but we do get visitors. And by the way, if you want to visit, certainly send an email first so we can plan for it. But he dropped by and he had made a plaque, which I showed you last time. And I got something else in the mail from our, well, I can't say we, right? Because we got the team. I can't do this without Julianne and Liberty and Adam, who takes care of the photography. We have two people you don't even know about. Three, actually. We got Joe and Cammie and Richard, right? So there's other people in the background of IDC Woodcraft that people just don't even know exists. So it's a growing company, and have other contractors, one over in Pakistan. They help us with the Amazon account. So anyway, our brother Mark Eldon has sent something, which is so cool. And I got to turn it on, and I have to get my little backboard here. So we're going to cover up my face. And so this is a little LED lit, like fairy angel in the moon kind of thing. And it's so cute. I mean, when we got it, the girls were like, okay, this is ours. This is ours. But what's really cool about this is it's just a nice, small little project, but it's like a nightlight thing. You see that it's got an LED on it. And here's what's cool about it is you can take that piece off, and he had made something that's very near and dear to me, a CNC project. a mini warrior woman. So this is a project that if you get the starter set from IDC Woodcraft, well, it's a full 12 pieces in that starter set. For if you're brand new to CNC, then you're not sure what CNC router bit you want to get. Well, I'll talk about that in a minute, but I want to talk about this warrior woman thing. If anyone has been following me for any length of time, you know that my niece, Isabel, had cancer, brain cancer, when she was 6 years old. And she's 21 now and going to college, but she's a little compromised, but super sweetheart. But I came up with this project for her, which is the full-size warrior woman. And so he took this project and made the mini of the warrior woman. And so this is a duplicate I made not too long ago, but this is still hanging on Isabel's wall. So cool. And that's what comes along with the starter set. There's 7 different projects that come with it. But so this was a super hyper thoughtful, Mark. Thank you very much. And this will be proudly displayed like the other gifts that we get in the IDC office, warehouse, dungeon, as we affectionately call it. And our girl Liberty has finally showed up too. So Liberty, I just want to pop you out and say hello. Here we go.
Hey.
And she's back to the hair thing. So yesterday her hair was red. The day before her hair was orange. And turn around, show them the back. It's so cool. This is the wild, crazy Liberty we got on board with us. And it's like, what color is her hair going to be today? So now I'm challenging Julianne to color her hair a color that she hasn't colored
Purple.
Yet. Purple. All right.
How about we let everybody vote on what color? I've had every color except for purple and pink.
Okay. You heard it. Put it in the comments. What color would you like to see? Or should I say colors?
Colors.
Colors. All right. Okay. So the girls will be in the background, taking care of you, chatting, chewing the fat with you. And what else was I going to say? That just threw me off. So I do want to, first of all, say hi to some people. Continue with saying hello. We got Brian and Steve, Tim, Billy McGee. What's going on, Billy? And Norman. Scrolling through this list, and these are all people that were on waiting. We got Gary Lynn with a big, hey, information thing. So we're going to have to bring that up in a little bit. And Eric, hello, Eric. Mark Eldon, there he is. The man is in town. And a few more, Roland and Alan and R&A Creative Woodworks. Brooks. Hey, Brooks, what's going on? And Jim, Nance. So, yep, hello to all the brothers and sisters. And so where do I begin? Well, I think I'm going to begin with this. First of all, I've been working on a video now. It's since you know that Vectric has updated its whole platform, so it looks very different. I'm working on a new video. Let's get my camera right so it doesn't look like I'm talking sideways. He's with this. So I'm working on a new video. That's basically a beginner's walkthrough, telling you what the real estate is on it. This is one of these videos that takes a lot of time because it's about an hour and a half long. Believe it or not, movies actually work on YouTube. So I didn't know that, but that's what I was asked to do by many people. Can you just give me a complete run through on this? And apparently that's the highest performing video. The old one I did of the version 11. Another thing I did was I tried to start a fire on my CNC today on my LongMill. I mean, literally intentionally tried to start a fire. And it's because I was making a video to try to prove a point. So what I'm going to do is I want to show you how serious it is that you can start a fire with your CNC router. Number one, drilling with down cutters. And number two, leaving your machine unattended. So this is a video that I pulled off of YouTube, and I'm going to share it, and I want you to watch. This took 6 minutes. It's been sped up 4 times. If I can bring that up, where's that video? Maybe I can't get it. I'll probably have to close it and bring it back up again. This is one of those ones that makes you go, oh shit, right? This stuff can really happen. So I'm going to try to bring it up again. And we're going to pause that and go back in. Come on, please show this because I want you to see it. Otherwise, you have to wait until, there we go. Got it. All right, here we go. This happened in a course of 6 minutes. Now this video is sped up 4 times. And what the person did is they put a webcam on it and they walked away and let the machine start to do its stuff. So we'll watch this. It broke away from its mount. And it took like no time for that fire to start. So how far into the video are we? We're about halfway in. So it's about 2.5 minutes into this job. And nobody's there watching it, getting ready to burn up the entire workshop. All right, end of video. So that's how serious this kind of stuff is, right? You don't necessarily think when you're new to CNC routers that fire is a hazard in CNC routing, but now you know it is. And this was just clearly carelessness, right? It was someone who got too comfortable with their machine, walked away. They had a long carve, obviously. There's a thick piece of wood, there's a big block, and they didn't want to wait around. So we need to always stay in earshot. There's, people say, well, I can watch it on my webcam. We get distracted. If we're not near it or around it, we get distracted. And we got so much distraction going on these days with cell phones and what have you. So just don't take it lightly. Please don't take it lightly. There are safety hazards. So I'm working on a video now. It should be out tomorrow or the next day on public YouTube. So other people can see the seriousness of this. What else I want? So I was drilling a bunch of holes with a down cutter. Now I did it on several pieces of wood, and I found that MDF is the most likely to catch on fire and generates the most heat. So, now an announcement I want to share with you all. For those of you who are on the CNC Insiders list, well, anybody who's been here watching this, I've talked about calipers coming out from IDC Woodcraft. So we finally got a date. We actually scheduled it for this Friday, but it's going to be next Friday that we are going to release the IDC Woodcraft calipers. And so these guys right here. And we're doing something that's kind of cool. Liberty doesn't know this yet, but she's been volunteered to do something that she's going to find out in just a second. So what we're doing is for those of you who are on a CNC Insiders list, so the CNC Insiders list is an email list, IDC Woodcraft's email list. So you all know what it being an email list is, but those who are on CNC Insiders, when I release new products that are branded IDC Woodcraft, then you get like a 15% discount. And also with new product, then I work up discounts with the companies for CNC Insiders. For example, Airweights, vacuum tables for benchtop CNCs. I've been talking to them. We are going to be getting something from them. I'll be getting a discount code from them that's going to be exclusive for the CNC Insiders. But here's the way this is going to work with the calipers. So we have about 800 sets that we're going to be shipping out. And this email is going to go out to about 18,000 people. That's how many are on the IDC Woodcraft email list. This is why we run out of stock whenever we release these new things. And so with the calipers, we're going to take 10 packs of those calipers, and we're randomly going to put this in the packs. So if it shows up very well, so it says golden ticket IDC Woodcraft, right? And if you have that, if you decide to order the calipers and you get the golden ticket, there's only 10 of them going to be out. You're going to get a $200 shopping spree on IDC Woodcraft's website with a 15% discount on that shopping spree. And then we have Juliana's ordered ball caps for IDC. So you're going to get a ball cap, and the girls graciously decided that you're going to get a mega M&M bag, 5 pounds of M&Ms. And here is Liberty's volunteer, non-volunteer thing, but she'll have fun. She is going to be carving a plaque with your name on it, since she's doing some carving, learning the Vectric software. And so that's what you're going to get. $200 discount shopping spree with a 15% discount. You'll get the baseball cap. You'll get the M&Ms, big 5-pound bag. And Liberty is going to make something for you on the CNC. So now I'm going to bring Liberty out and say, how do you like being volunteered for something like that, Liberty?
We call that voluntold. I'm being voluntold for it. And I love it. I'm down for it.
Yep. I figured you would be. So, okay, cool. Very, very cool. All right. So we have a bunch of comments here and questions. I might as well get in here, but I'm going to read some of these things. Oh, we did invite Mark Lindsay. I think I told you that. So Mark will be coming in when he finishes on his barbecue. Makes me hungry. I do want to say one more thing, and then I'm going to get into chatting with you all. So we had Lanny on last week. So Lanny's the man knows his stuff, very technically oriented, the kind of person that when he decides he wants to go after something and he doesn't really know how to do it, he will figure it out on the CNC. And he's got his show Spindle TV, where he goes live all the time on YouTube. And then, so next week, LongMill is going to be on. Andy Lee, he is one of the 2 owners. Chris Thorogood is the other owner, but that is his committed evening for his fiance. So Chris will not be there, but Andy will. So we can talk about the new alt mill that's coming out, which I am waiting on mine. I was the 26th order that they had to get that. It's a 4x4 LongMill. It's not even a LongMill. It's very different. It's a ball screw. It's got a spin. Comes with a spindle. It's got the super long board on it, 4 foot by 4 foot, and so I can't wait to get that thing in. And they're working on their CO2 laser now. They've got a functioning unit. They just have to come up with all the designs and all the safety protocols. But I also want to get in other CNC companies. We're talking to other influencers you may know. When we say influencers, those who have a large presence on YouTube. And I gotta remember Izzy Swan. So Julianne, first drink of the night. Julianne, remind me, or Liberty, remind me about Izzy Swan to get hold of him. And Richard Brooks from Northern Michigan, what's going on? So also, please don't forget, if you haven't gotten it already, get the CNC router project setup checklist. When I talked about this last week with Lanny, the minute I said, about setup and how that's more important than actually running your project, he was like on it. He said, setup is the most important thing. And the reason is if you don't do your setup right, we're just people, we forget stuff. I've been doing this stuff for a long time. And how many of us have forgotten to set our X, Y, and Z and hit the start button, right? So all of us, and that's what this thing helps us not do, because it covers your material, covers your router bit checks and your start point checks, and making sure you have the right G code in your thing before you ever hit the start button, and making sure you have your finger on that stop button when you hit start. So Julianne will put a link in the comments for you to get the checklist that you're going to get today and start using right now, because it will save you from those little mistakes that happen. Okay, let's jump into some questions. Julianne and Liberty have starred 9 questions for me. So we're just going to dive in and see if I can handle this solo until I got got my wingman, Mark, coming in. But I don't know what's up with Kate, but send your regards to her thoughts. All right. So this comes from Norman. I've just installed VCarve Desktop version 12. Will this version accept 3VM files? Many thanks. So that is going to have to be a question for Mark, because I think we talked about that last week, but I didn't retain that, and I know it's in my notes because I've not really heard about 3VM files. I've been around this thing for this planet, CNC planet, for a long time, and 3VM has not come up until very recently for me. So let's just keep a note on that question, and we'll talk to Mark about that when he pops on board. Okay, so we're going to go to Gary Lynn. So this is the big information thing that I mentioned the other day. I posted a video using a drafting brush to remove sawdust. You bought the blush brush women use for rouge, or rouge. Is that pronounced rouge, girls? Okay. Says new and unused for the fine dust. Works great. Okay, so I have no idea what a blush brush looks like. I guess it's one of those little fat. Liberty's running off to get it to show you all what a blush brush is, so you can use that to get out some of the sawdust. So this is why I love this kind of community, because we dialogue and we teach each other just these little tiny tips. So IDC is also going to be inventorying those brushes for the Dremels. So we're working on getting those now, and it's going to be another month or two before we get them, but they're coming on board. So Liberty, you got a blush brush? Okay, here she is.
Yep. Sometimes they're a little bit bigger, but it's just a basic big brush. It's loose, so it's a lighter applique.
Now,
right,
is that natural hair in that, or is that like the fake plastic acrylic? Let's.
I'm gonna say I'm bougie, and it's bamboo.
All right.
All right, very cool. So the Wednesday evening CNC Hangout is now turned into a beauty show as well. So
For sure.
very, very cool.
Let's see.
All right, blush brush.
Looks like we got an answer to the first question. Brooks says that V3M or 3VM, whichever, is a 3D file. Yeah. And Brandon says yes on the 3VM file.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
So I need a 3VM file to see what it is. So if it's a 3D file, but I can, I'm going to punch out that comment for a minute. Here's how you can tell what files you can bring into Vectric. So I'm going to share my Vectric screen. And if we go, I'm going to import a component or 3D model. So I'm clicking that button. So down when your directory opens, you go down to the lower right corner, just be above where it says open and cancel, and it says all 3D files. And there's a whole list of them. So there's a V3M format there. So Vectric for 3D models will take STL, V3M, and 3DM, SKP. It's kind of hard for me to read here. RLF, BRJ, something with an X. So anyway, DXF. So right there, that'll tell you all the files that you can bring into your Vectric software. So that's one way you can find out. All right. So
are you coming back Mark Lindsay? Yeah, he said V3M is Vectric's proprietary 3D file format and can be imported into VCarve as well as Aspire.
Okay. And he's telling us that as he's eating ribs. Thanks, Mark.
Lucky.
What a buddy. Okay, thanks, Mark. Okay, let's get on to the next one. Norman, you said you just installed VCarve, and we just talked about that one. We didn't get that out of our queue. And we got Gary's out of the queue. And okay, Brooks, the food coloring and vinegar bath had some success. So this is something we were talking about last week, and staining some poplar. So the use of vinegar, I'm curious about why vinegar, but the question was last week, can we use food coloring to color our stuff? Would food coloring work or be safe as a food safe type of thing if you were going to stain your cutting boards or something like that, if I remember correctly? And so I don't see why. Obviously, somebody said use some vinegar with it, and so he tried it, and he said it seemed to work on some poplar. So if you want to color your wood some unusual colors, try it out with food coloring. If you're doing like cutting boards and stuff, and you can come up with some fake-looking purple heart or something like that, blue spruce or black walnut, whatever, and make that out of pine. Who knows? Anyway. Thank you, Brooks, for sharing that. Okay, so we got Bullion Renegade Custom. So evening, y'all. Any suggestions on bits to carve out carbon graphite to make molds for metal pouring? Okay, so there's a bit called a composite bit, and I do not stock it, but I do have one in stock now to test. And to me, it's when I first saw it, when you first saw it, it's they call it a corncob bit. So that's one that is considered to be used for that. I'm going to try to find a picture, or Julianne, see if you can find a picture. Just do a search, find corncob bit, and bring it up. Corncob bit CNC. So yeah, so carbon graphite is going to be abrasive to your standard end mills, and it's also going to be messy. If you're doing graphite, okay, so one of the things I was just thinking was carbon, the carbon sheet, right? That's the stuff that those bits will work on. For carbon graphite, I used to actually machine that stuff, and when I was in CNC, and yeah, there's a corncob bit there. It's kind of, there you go. That, you use that for some things like phenolic and carbon, the carbon cloth that they use. It's not coming to me at the moment. So somebody put in the comments what I'm trying to get out of my head. So I need you to get in my head. Anyway, that's a corncob bit right there. I'm going to be experimenting with one. I'll shoot a video. It's one of those WTF bits when you first get into CNC. You don't know how you're supposed to use that. And I have seen companies sell them as a set to brand new beginners and not even understand what they're selling to them. That for wood, these things make your projects look pretty, as you can tell, pretty gnarly. I mean, that might look like a hog on steroids. That's a pretty interesting one because it's got flutes on it. So it's actually cutting as well. All right, thanks, Julian. So anyway, back to your question. We used to make electrodes out of graphite, carbon graphite blocks, and that is actually pretty soft, right? So you can actually cut it with a standard end mill. You want to use upcuts. You can do a downcut on that stuff because it does cut really easy. It also chips really easy, and the dust that comes off of it it's super fine. It's like pencil lead. Everything will get black. So you want to protect things, and you can't get the black out. It's that fine of a black powder. So hopefully I got that question answered for you. All right, Dan the man, what's going on? Dan has been with us, Kate and I, for a very, very long time on these lives. And by the way, if this is your first time, just remember every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we come on. I will be here, come rain or hell or high water. And Kate gets on here most of the time, but she does have a family that keeps her busy. So, but Mark is often in the background, and we also bring on special guests. Like I said, we got Hamilton from CNC with me coming in June, and put in the comments people you want to see come on board. But what I want to do is just bring experts on, people from different CNC manufacturers, and maybe even, you know, some wood experts, people that really understand the principles of all different kinds of wood. Anyway, Dan, I'm in the process of upgrading your stepper motors and drivers. How would I go about measuring the new max rapid speed? So to set the foundation, I am a mechanical guy. So if you're talking technical and how you set up your steps and stuff like that, I do know you go into your firmware, adjust your steps, but I don't know the math offhand of how to set those steps to near the right feeds that you want. Max rapid. I do know that this is a good question for next week, Dan. Make a note of this one. Because LongMill will be here, and these guys are very technical. So, I mean, it's almost like sometimes when I watch a couple of their videos and they're talking, it's like, so hold that question the next week. And hopefully some people mention that in the thing. If Jack in the shop is here, Jack will probably be able to tell you, because Jack is a technical whiz as well. All right. Before I get there, what's going on this year with IDC Woodcraft? So we've got the Vectric show coming up. It's like a Vectric users group thing, and I think that's in, I don't remember. Girls, where is it? To let them pop on board and tell me where that's at. Then also we got the IWF, the International Woodworkers Fair, going to be there, and I got something else to go to as well. So yeah. Anyway, lots of business travel coming up. It's always fun. I like going to the shows because I get to meet a lot of you at these when you show up. So we're going to go to David. Turning 70 this October, hitting another decade, ran your first CNC project last week, bought your CNC machine 2 years ago, but never used it until last week. So this is a really cool thing to bring up, because this happens to people from time to time. They want to get into it, then they get the machine, and I don't know what your circumstance was, whether you're going, oh, do I want to get into this? Am I getting myself into something I'll never figure out? Or you just didn't have the time. But a lot of people will buy a machine, and then when they have it, it intimidates them, and it just sits in boxes in the corner for quite some time until that little bug gets on them and says, I got to do it. There's no way around it. You know, you're going to be afraid. You're going to have to do it anyway. And so, first of all, I want to say congratulations for getting that thing out and cutting your first project. And I know the feeling when you make that very first cut on your machine. It's just super, super cool. And you're 70 young. I love, I'm 62, and I just love that all of us retirees gather together doing this stuff and working together. It feels really rewarding, making stuff on the machine, and then giving it away or selling it or coming into another business. So this was a thought I had before I started this show tonight about business. There's a lot of people, a lot of creators get into this because they want to make money. And it's very possible. It's not hard to make money in CNC, but there are a lot of videos out there, and I'm guilty of one or two of them as well, of at least early in my YouTube career, of just saying, hey, you can sell this. This is what I did, and this is how I did it. There's some that are better than others at explaining this, but there's just a lot of this make money, right? And it all sounds fine and good until you actually get down and dirty in trying to start doing business. We run into lots of little roadblocks, like how much do I charge for this? There's a lot of confidence issues. feeling like, your work's not good enough. Where's the best place to sell at? People try to get on Etsy. Etsy's a beautiful place to start at. But there's we don't always think outside the box with the business. For example, the pictures that we take. Picture is number one, right? Quality pictures. You always want to stage your projects and ideally have people in them or have some kind of emotional value in them so that it draws people subconsciously. I can tell you that companies spend millions of dollars on understanding human nature and human psychology, so that when they set up their business and their marketing, that they are triggering us at very deep levels that we don't even get. For example, when you watch my YouTube videos, you will see a little blurb right at the beginning, like this one that's going to be coming out about trying to burn the LongMill. It opens up as you could be setting yourself for a fire on your CNC and not even know it. Right? That's a hook. All right. So, but this is the kind of stuff that works and engages the psyche. There's this underlying thing that makes people go, "Oh, what is it?" Right? But the same thing goes along with the pictures that you create for your projects and also the titles. I've seen websites built that have pictures on them of things that are important to the person who built the website. And your business, whatever you're trying to sell, the number one rule you always have to remember is two rules. One is your business is not about you. You have to take yourself out of it and you have to get into your customer's mind, right? You have to understand who you are marketing to. So it takes a little bit of thought of what is my specialty that I can speak to, and then how can I create products around that, and then images that will help engage that, and then what they call the copy or the headline for your product. That headline needs to engage people. Now, I'm going to give you a little trick for those of you who are on Etsy, and I learned this from Ryan over at Cutting It Close, because he's made millions on Etsy, and he does have videos that talk about that. But Ryan, he'll make one project. We'll say the Warrior Woman, right? He'll make this and he will list it 50, 60, 70 times on Etsy. And all his titles are titled differently, because he's not really throwing mud on the wall hoping it'll hit something. He's strategically throwing darts at different targets, right? So you want to take advantage of that to get a broader market. This is a really key thing to remember. But the rule number 2 to remember on this, the first one is not about you. The second number one rule that every good marketing company and marketer understands is it's not the thing that you're selling. It's the thing that sells the thing. So here's the example with the Warrior Woman. If I just said a Warrior Woman carving project for your CNC router, there's no real emotion behind it. Or if I said I'm making this cutting board, selling this cutting board, it's made of walnut and 3 different exotic species of wood, and it took me 15 days to make and do whatever, nobody cares, right? Because there's no story behind it. You want to engage the story. That's why this is a cancer thing. This is for my niece Isabel, which is the truth. But there's the story behind it. It's got lots of emotional value. And so for those who have been affected by cancer, which is most of us, and either directly or indirectly, that's going to resonate with them if you talk about that kind of stuff. Share your story, and know where you're going after, who you're talking to, and the stories that they have, the deep emotional stuff. So it's not the thing that you're selling. It's not the work. It's not the beautiful wood. It's the idea of why they want it. It's the thing that sells the thing. And this brings me to another point that I do want to share with you that I haven't talked about in quite a long time. Is when it comes to business, is a lot of times when you get into it, we're not really feeling like, well, we focus on what the masses do. Meaning you go to Etsy and there's 1,000 cutting board stores on there, and it's picture after picture after picture. And so you're really in the midst of a competitive market. And so it's really hard to stand out. And that's why pictures are so important. And that's why the titles are so important. All right. If you got some military logo that you're putting on it, you've got to put it on Etsy 15 different times with different military relevant statements. And I said that, and now I forgot what I was just going to share with you. So that kind of stuff, you're going after the masses. You want to find the outliers. You want to be not in the masses. You want to be above them. All right. So that's where, if you're making cutting boards, make them a little bit bigger, right? But that it doesn't even have to be bigger, as long as they look nice, right? But it's the demographic. There are people who will pay $35 for a cutting board, and there will be people that will pay $400 for the exact same cutting board, right? And this is all the demographic that you go after. So you want to know and go after those who are willing to pay more money. They won't buy the cheaper one because they're not willing to do that. They're not willing to go out and buy McDonald's when they're wanting to go out and buy a steak, and that's their mentality. They have steak mentality. So just a couple of thoughts that came into my mind. I just want to see a couple of comments that have come in a minute. Okay, so it looks like there's some talk going on with Mark. He's out there. Midnight Sun had a question, but we'll get to yours. All right, so we're going to get to Raul. By the way, I'm going solo tonight, so it's kind of interesting to do this on my own and let it rip that way. But we got to do it on our own at some point, right? So, Raul, did I try the draw line, poly line? It worked. Did it work for me? So the draw line, I'm assuming you're talking about draw curve. Let's get back into the Vectric. So Vectric has removed the draw curve function in the new release. I'm hoping they'll bring it back because I know that there's nobody on the planet that is happy about that. And they've taken off, I'm guessing, with the idea that people can use the freehand drawing tool or the draw curve capability that's in the polyline function. So I'm going to open up my Vectric. First of all, I'm going to open up Vectric version 11.5, if I can get back to my desktop. And boy, I have way too many things open. Good Lord. Okay. So we're launching. Okay, so Julianne, do you see VCarve Pro version 11? Let me take a look.
I'm still seeing 12.
12. Okay, let me get 11 up. So I just want to show you the draw curves tool. All right, so there's version 11, and just quickly set up a job. So up in Create Vectors in the second row, there is the draw polyline, the draw arc, the draw curves, and then there's the freehand drawing. Freehand was released in version 11.5, which is what I have here. So I'm going to click the draw curves, and when we do draw curves, as we just click around, it naturally creates curves using smooth nodes. And so they have taken this feature away. This feature was really, really useful for trace drawing. The freehand drawing tool, for me, is not that easy to use because you have to manage your mouse and move your mouse around, and it's so easy to get off track when you're using a freehand tool. So one of the things that's always been available in at least from version 11 on is with you when you're doing the polyline tool, which is the one that straight lines, what you can do is where you're ready to click. I'm going to turn the snaps off. When you're ready to click at a point, you hold that mouse button down and now you're creating a draw curve. And what you're doing is you're drawing that, dragging that flag out to establish the curve that you want. And once you got it to where you want, you let it go, and now you've got more curve going on. And now I'm holding it down again, and I can do that again. And I've got one more I can go. I'm going to click it one more time, but I'm just clicking it and let it go. And now we're back to straight line. So that feature is still available in the Vectric version 12. I'm going to go to 12 now. If it's up, why did I lose that? Cancel. It's kind of weird. Oh, maybe because I minimized it. I think I just learned something, Julianne. If I got something minimized, I can't do it. Yeah, that worked. Okay. All right, so version 12 no longer has that draw curves. So now you either have to use the freehand tool where I'm holding the left mouse button down and I'm dragging it around. I did a video on freehand tool. It is a nice tool. I do like it, but it can be hard to trace if you're trying to trace really intense details. And then, of course, again, with the polyline tool, it does the same thing. Going to hold the mouse button down, let it go, and go like that. So that's how those two work now. So with it, draw curves is not completely gone. So it does work. And I did create a video on the draw curves tool, just so you know. Okay, Ellen, what's going on, sister? So before we deal with Ellen's question, so Kate is not here tonight for personal reasons, and but Kate runs the Facebook group Women Who CNC. So it's a private group for women only, so it's just gender specific, we'll put it that way. And she did that under my urging because we think different from them, and they talk. It's kind of like what that somebody says, like that little 3-line icon they call it a hamburger. The girls call it a hamburger. All right, and I'm going, what the hell are you talking about? It's, you know, it's the expense. I don't know. They have their own way of talking, and so it works for them. So Women Who CNC Facebook group, and you can also go to womenwhocnc.com. Kate's got some information there, or her YouTube channel. And Ellen is a very active member of her group. Ellen has been with us for quite a while. Oops, I clicked her off. And Liberty was just Liberty. You gotta get back to the screen. Tell me about what you told me about Ellen earlier. It's good, Ellen. Don't worry. Okay, Ellen said, "Are the numbers enlarged on the calipers, like where you're able to read it?" Oh my gosh! When I was searching out caliper manufacturers, so I did go to a manufacturer, and we went through multiple sets of calipers, and the thing that jumped right out at me was, first of all, me with the eyes that I have, and I know many of our brothers and sisters, as you get older, we just have eye challenges, and mine are complicated with some other issues. I get shots in my eyes every 3 weeks, like they are 3 months. They literally stick a needle in the eyeball and inject stuff. But Ellen, there, nice big ass screen for you. Okay, so that's this is what I came down to. They function very well. They're industrial grade, and so what Ellen's referring to, for those who jumped on, I was talking earlier at the beginning that we are releasing these very shortly, next Friday, and they will first be released to the CNC insiders, the IDC Woodcraft email list. And we are doing a little bit of a fun thing that Willy Wonka, remember the Willy Wonka where you got the candy bar and you got the golden ticket? So we're doing that kind of strategy. So 10 of these sets out of 800 will have a golden ticket in it. And for those, and they're randomly put in. So for those who get the one with the golden ticket, you're going to have a $200 shopping spree at IDC Woodcraft with a 15% discount. And You're going to get a 5-pound bag of M&Ms. You're going to get IDC Woodcraft ball cap, which hasn't come in yet. And Liberty is going to carve a little plaque for you with your name on it. And we're going to send all that to you. And so I forgot the question I was going to ask Liberty. Doggone it. What was I going to ask Liberty?
Something about Ellen, or what she said about Ellen, or something happened.
Yeah. You were telling me about Ellen, our sister Ellen.
Yes. I love Ellen. Yeah, him and I were talking about her the other day. But I've got something I've got to send to her. I just haven't taken the time to do it, but I will do it. Okay. It's sitting on my desk.
Yeah. You said like she messaged you right away or something to that effect.
Yeah, she messaged me. She friended me on Facebook. She's asked me updates on how my learning's going and things like that. She's a sweetheart.
Yeah, very cool. All right, Alan, you have made your mark. Okay, let's get on to. I hope that question, by the way, answered. That huge display on that thing. Okay, so we got been using, this is from Ed, been using the downloaded IDC tool speed and feed info in Vectric. When you make any changes for a specific product, does it change the original default settings? This is such an awesome question. It's one of those little things we don't know about and don't often think about. So I'm going to minimize your question and I'm going to answer this in this way. So I'm going to bring up the Vectric software. And so there we go. Now, let's just finish that. We're going to come over to the tool database area. And so if I am running a tool path, so I'm going to run a profile on this little squiggly line, and I open up to the tool database to select my router bit. In this part, if you make changes in this part, that change will be global. What that means is your core database is going to be updated with that new number. So it's not recommended that once you have optimal feeds and speeds that you're comfortable with at the minimum level, then you can change the database. But if you're going to make modifications to it for a case-by-case basis, you do not do that here in the database. You do it in the tool, in the editor of the tool path. So in the upper right now, my mouse is on tools, and I've selected the 90-degree V-bit. What I would do is go to edit and bring this little tool information up. Now this will specifically and only change the router bit for this tool path. So, and it will save it for this tool path. So we can create another tool path with the same exact router bit and change the numbers to something else. It will not affect the database. It'll only be set for that specific tool path. So you can have multiple tool paths with the same router bit, and they can all have different feeds and speeds, and the database will never get changed. But you just don't want to change the database. So what he was talking about with the IDC database is at the IDC Woodcraft website. I'm going to bring that up, and right there. Okay. If you've just gotten your Vectric software, or you've updated it, well, if you updated it, then you'll be able to migrate the information. But if you just got the Vectric software, you're brand new, you have to populate your database with the router bits, and that can be very tedious. I'm actually going to come back to that. I just want to show you what you are confronted with when you are having to populate your router bit database. So we're going to go back to Vectric, and I'm going to open up that tool database again. And we're just going to select a number. Now, I've just selected the hog roughing bit, probably a 1 bit. It's so hard to keep on the shelf. Everybody buys that thing because it makes your projects run so much faster. But to the right here, there's a bunch of fields with numbers. All these numbers you have to populate for every single router bit.
Hey, Garrett. We're not actually seeing that pop-up window.
Oh, you're not? Oh, doggone it. All right, I'm sorry. Well, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to take a screenshot of it. And thank you for sharing that. Because I can't tell what you can see and what you can't see. So I'm going to do it this way. Okay. So I have to stop sharing that. I got to bring up this image. And I'm not seeing the comments right now because I have two fields of comments. One is just where they've been starred for my attention. And then there's the one where you guys are dialoguing. I pop back and forth through them. But right now I'm in the question area. So I don't know if that image is going to come up. That's kind of weird. Cancel and do it again. I apologize that you didn't see that. I was hoping to get a screenshot of it and bring it up on the screen, but it's not showing here, so I'm going to have to try it a different way. We're just going to save that and put that right there in downloads. And now I'll just open up that image. Where did it go? There it is. Okay. Well, hopefully it made sense that you don't want to change numbers in your database. You want to change them when you're selecting your tool. There's an edit button just below it. There's two buttons. There's a select button and an edit button. The select chooses the bit from your database, and the edit button allows you to change the feeds and speeds for that tool path without affecting the database. So I've got this thing up, and anyway, basically where I'm going with this whole thing is there's a lot of numbers you need to bring up in your, there we go. All right, can you see it, Julianne? Julianne?
Can you enlarge it just a little bit? It's very tiny print. There we go.
It is. I'm working full screen.
Well, we aren't.
Okay. Well, anyway, yeah. Okay. So anyway, so to the right here is all the router bits like this. Let me just kind of show you this. If I can show, okay, it's there. There's a whole bunch of router bits in this list, and that's everything that IDC Woodcraft provides, and that list goes on for another like whole string of what you're looking at there. But all this information on the right side, you have to manually put it in for every single router bit. So that leaves you with room for error. And so you go to the IDC Woodcraft website. At the very top, it says database downloads. You go click that, and you will come to the entire database. You can install it. For the Vectric software, there's a video that tells you how to do it. You'll get instructions for all this stuff. So I'm just going to get down to here. Someone's talking about compression bits, cut up the bottom and surface and down. Okay, so someone's asking about compression bits. I don't want to get out of line here, but so I had a question today about compression bits. They're trying to understand how they work. Compression bits have a downcut spiral at the top part of it. Wait a minute. All right, so this is a bit I destroyed today trying to set my machine on fire. I was drilling with a down cutter, right? I did that on purpose. So anyway, this is a down spiral bit. A compression bit has a little bit of an up spiral at the bottom. And the intention for that is that down spiral does a down shear at the top of the material. And that helps to prevent tear out. If you have an upcut, it's going to rip up the grain, and then you've got the rough edges on it. The advantage of the compression bit is for cutouts. So you can have that down cut on the top, you get a nice clean cut, and then you got that little bit of upcut on the bottom that will do the same thing on the bottom, and so you don't have tear out on either side. And so that's what compression bits do. Well, hey Garrett, are you in the works for getting the new quick change collets for Bosch router? So I'm not sure what Muscle Chuck's status is with other brands. We did pull all the Muscle Chucks. So what he's talking about is that it's something called Muscle Chuck, and you take a wrench to it, you loosen it up, and that loosens the entire collet. You take the bit out, put the other bit in, and tighten it up. It's super fast bit change. And we had to pull all our inventory because there was some quality issues going on. So he sent them all back to the supplier, and they are rectifying the issues. And so those should be coming back in. So he's got it for Makita. We've got them in stock for Makita. They're coming for, but they're out of stock right now. We are stocking. That's what I mean. And for the ER20 collets, we'll be getting those. Right now, we just have Makita. But as far as Bosch, he's got to make them for each specific router. So he goes with what's in the highest demand and works his way down. So in answer to that, I don't know the status of that. I have not asked about that. This is probably the first or second time only that I've been asked about the Bosch. So, but we'll put it out to them. We'll ask them to see if they what the status is on something like that. Eric, question: upcut bit or compression bit for finishing edges on MDF? I wouldn't use an upcut on MDF. MDF is sawdust, right? And you cut it, it's going to roll up if you're doing it with an upcut. It's just, you can't stop it. Definitely a downcut. Allow room for ejection of the chips. So you're making a pass around, that's good. And the next pass, you ideally want to have a little bit of a gap so the chips have a way to get out of there. You don't want to compress a lot of MDF down in the bottom. And when we did that today, it generated the most heat and smoke. The whole shop was full of smoke. And I'm going to see what's going on in the comments. So looks like Hybrid Soul. Okay, you mentioned you commented about the compression bit. Bruce from Australia. Hello, Bruce. And JR just joined in. All right, Dave Olson's out there. And that's where he said you can't see the pop-up windows. So I apologize. That's one of the things I noticed last week, and I have to remember this, that when we're demonstrating something through the service we're using, which is live stream, and in the Vectric software, when we click something and we get a pop-up window, it does not display. And I'm thinking because it's like a window over a window, and the StreamYard, we can only show one window at a time. So I have to select the specific window that I am displaying, and so it won't show any other windows. So pop-up is a window on top of a window. It won't display it. Daniel, does VCarve have test files for use with my Onefinity Journeyman? That I don't know. You would have to ask them. It doesn't come with test files that like specifically where they say here's some test files to check it out and make sure it works. That's actually something good to think about doing, is coming up with a test project so you can test your interpolation. Interpolation is when you're cutting in a circle, and check your dimensions. Julianne, Liberty, make a note of that. Time to drink. Every time I ask one of these girls to do something, you got to take a drink, because I'm asking them so much. So I'll come up with a test file. That's a really good suggestion. Vectric does not send a test file. All right, Butch McCraw. There's Butch, my man. He's been Butch has been an IDC customer for a very long time, and so yeah, just write your name down there, Butch. Okay. What's the question? Butch, on the bottom left of your V12, it doesn't show the job dimension. How do you get it to show up? On the bottom left. Okay. So what he is talking about, let me get back to that first of all in the Vectric software. All right. So you can take his question down for a moment. All right. Oops. Don't want that one. That's the 11. That's 11.5. I got to come back to the 12. And V12. Okay. So down in the lower left corner of the screen, it says job dimensions, width, height, and depth. It's just a piece of information there. Now, I'm not sure what turns that on and off, but one of the things you can do is up at the in the menu where it says edit, I'm going to click it and open up the window. So when you click edit or any of those things up top, a menu opens up, and then you'll have a button that says option. So I'm going to try to bring up what that has brought up to my screen. So I'm going to remove that, and we're going to come and stop screen share, and I'm going to, hopefully it'll show this, what I have up. Okay. All right, Julianne, can you see it? Can you see the menu in the middle?
The menu in the middle? No.
No.
I see.
Okay.
I see the screen with the squiggles.
Okay. All right. When you click edit, and this works on Mark's StreamYard, so I'm going to talk to Mark. We're going to have to work on these settings. Anyway, when you click edit and you click options, there's a menu that pops up. There may be something in there. I have not explored it yet that will turn that on or off. So if Mark shows up, maybe he's already answered it in the comments. I don't know. It's a good question, Butch. So I'll cue that one. All right, Daniel brought in another question. Are there compression V-bits? Are there downward spiral V-bits to prevent fraying? So I am working on down V-bit, but I know Cody over at Cadence CNC. He's got some pretty awesome bits, and he's got some down V bits. So you can check out his website, Cadence CNC. And it's called the Jenny bit, right? He's got his series of Jenny bits. So check that out, Cadence CNC. Now that's got to be different, right? I'm a router bit company recommending another router bit company, right? But I talk to Cody all the time. All right, Cody's a really good guy. Cody went out and he came up with some router bit concepts and designs. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to bring him on as well on live. A super nice guy, but he came up with some designs and he was moving those bits, but he couldn't keep up with production because the companies that were making them weren't prioritizing him. You know, they had deals much bigger than him. And so he went out and bought him his own tool making machine, a big CNC tool grinding machine. Cost him $500,000. So he's in charge of his equipment and of his inventory. All right. So did either of you, I'm not sure who the other one is, look at Carveco as a modeling program? Why did you choose Vectric? It's a good question. So I did play with Carveco briefly some time ago. Vectric was the one that I just kind of landed on that one, and that's what was everybody was showing. So Carveco is another good design software. It's got a different looking interface. They use some different terminology in it, but it still works very well. And then Carveco also has a 3D making aspect of it. It's got kind of the similar tiers. I think there's 3 tiers in Carveco. Carveco Maker, Carveco Pro, and then Carveco Maker Plus or something like that. But one of those levels makes your 3D models as well. I have not used it, and the reason mainly is because I stumbled on Vectric first, and it seemed to work for me, so I didn't need to move on. So if you're take a minute and give me a thumbs up, hanging out here with you tonight on the YouTube channel. And if you haven't done already, subscribe. It helps support IDC Woodcraft and the growth of the channel. One of my goals is to hit 100,000 subscribers by August 31st. Just because. Why not? What else we got? So, one of the other things is the IDC Woodcraft app, the phone app. If you don't have the phone app, I'm going to bring it up here. So the phone app is an application that you can get for free for both iOS, Apple, and Google. You just go to the app stores for either one. And this has all the feeds and speeds and specifications for all the router bits in IDC Woodcraft. And you can, if you purchase a router bit, then you can just click on it and, let's just go to a bit. And there's all the data for the bit. And where's that button? You can set it for metric. You can find your feeds and speeds, your dial settings for your different routers. And it's got all the specifications and speeds there. And then you can add this to a list. So if I click that, there I just added it to my bit list, and now I can go to my list, and it's got everything that I've picked up. And then if you need to buy one, you can just get it right through the phone app. So Julianne or Liberty will put a link in the description for you to get that, or just go to your app store. It's free. Just search IDC Woodcraft. What do we got going on here? All right, just taking a look at some of the comments. Okay, let's get back to the questions. So we talked about Carveco. And so Hamilton, who's going to be on in June, he is Carveco user. So that's a good time to be on. What's the date, Julianne?
It's hold on. Hamilton is June 6th. Hold on, 5 seconds. I got it.
I popped her right out. She wasn't expecting that.
Oh, sorry. Hamilton is going to be on June 5th.
Okay, there you go. And he is a Onefinity, and he is a Carveco guy. So he also has CNC with me, a group. All right. So from John, the Vectric user group meeting is October 11th and 12th in Austin, Texas. Okay. I will be there. I'm expecting now that John will be there as well. That would be cool. I know some people will be there. Kyle Ely will be there. Most of the people that we have on here will be there. Greg has sent me a text. Says Greg must be on board right now. He sent me a text about the girls there. All right, hey Greg. All right, from Mark, question: what woods did I consider the best for crisp letters and great looking carvings? So I work with mostly walnut, oak, MDF, and pine. So I don't get real exotic with the woods. This is something that Kate will be a lot better to answer. And Mark, if he'd ever show up, Mark, where are you? He could talk about some of the lumbers as well. So I just pretty much deal with that. And the reason I've done some hickory too. And what I got over here? Darn it. Trying to remember. It's not coming to me. Ash. Let these guys answer the question better than me. I do more teaching and testing rather than make a lot of stuff. So Midnight Sun Woodwork. I love the name. You can't find a 7/16 60-degree V-bit on my feeds and speeds app. Yeah, I only have the IDC Woodcraft bits on the app because those are the ones that I test directly. So I don't put other brands on the app, the bit types. I mean, if it's something that I see people using a lot, I would certainly consider it and actually inventorying it. But that's not one I've dealt with. 7/16 60-degree. All right. Well, we'll make a note on that as well. All right. So what time is it? It's 9:15. All right. Cool. Oh, this is going quick. I think I'm doing okay. Okay. Yeah. I'm getting some nods back there from the girls. I'll just bring them out. Yeah. I just like popping
So
them
far,
out.
so good.
So far, so good. I'm holding my own.
You're managing. You're doing just fine. You got the support team in the background.
Yep.
Yeah,
Although
yeah.
we both want to know what Greg say
Yeah.
about us.
Greg just said, he said, get her live reaction. So I don't know what he was referring to.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right. We had Greg on here a few weeks ago as well. And Greg is another instructor, teacher on YouTube and very involved. Ran into him down at the Workbench Con. So very nice guy. We'll bring him back on too. Ziggy started using compression bits a lot more 4mm one. How deep can you go with that? And one head into plywood. Okay, so 4mm is about 3/16 of an inch, I believe. I'll get my let me do a little calculation real quick because I don't remember offhand. 3 divided by 16 times 25.4. So yeah, so that's 3/16 is 5mm. So this is about 5/32 is what size he's working with. 4mm, a little bit over 1/8. How deep can you go with that? So I would say on that, the general rule of thumb when you're going with router bits and their depths to start off with is half the diameter. So with that size of bit, you would want to go 2mm deep per pass until you understand how your bit performs. And then you may be able to increase that depth. You can get up to the diameter and be comfortable with it, but once you understand, so what I'm saying is you can get up to a depth of 4mm, but start off with 2mm. So the general rule of thumb with router bits, when you're first starting out, your depth of cut, you want it to be half the diameter of the router bit. And then you work up from there. That keeps you in a nice, safe zone. All right, Doug, you bought 2 Makita trim routers, and both of them within 10 minutes got so hot you can't touch the nut. Your old one didn't do this. Has anyone else had this problem? Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is it was running backwards, but I don't think the Makitas run backwards. I've never seen one run backwards. So the other thing I'm going to say is either you have a dull bit or your feeds and speeds are off. But if you're working with the same feeds and speeds and it's doing that, then your router bit is probably dull. Then what's going to happen? Heat in a router bit is the killer of router bits, but it is also the killer of your equipment, right? Because that heat gets into the router bit and that heat has to go somewhere. And the metal has a much higher heat transfer ratio than air does. So that heat is going to migrate into the router and into the nut, into the collet and what have you. And once it gets to that point where it can't dissipate that heat, then it's going to build up in the router bit itself. Now, if the router bit is not getting hot, but the nut is, then you've got something going on in the Makita itself. And I would probably be thinking about returning it, right? Maybe turn it on for a little while and just let it run without cutting and see if it gets hot. If it is, then you got a problem with the Makita trim router. But when it comes in twice, happens twice back to back, that's a little bit of an issue, I think. You're right. Okay, the girls are chatting in the background there. Cool. We're going to get Gerard coming up. Gerard, Garrett, is there such thing as a downcut ball nose bit? So there is not until almost now. So right now I have in stock, and it's not in inventory yet. These are just test router bits. We have downcut ball nose, 1/4 inch. So it's an end mill. It's downcut end mill ball nose. Technically, it's a compression ball nose. So that's something that I want to get out there. I want a downcut ball nose because ball nose end mills, they notoriously tear up bits, wood, because they're an upcut end mill. Now, if you're talking about the flat the ones that are bigger than a 1/4 inch, so they have the wide body, they have a brazed tip. That's a different story. That requires very special grinding, and so those I have not addressed yet, but I would like to do that as well. I've certainly thought about it, where you have a 1/2 inch ball nose or a 1 inch ball nose to get a forward tilt on that. So we'll see. All right, so Kinjikan, hope I said that correctly. Kanagamatsu Bravo XL 6050 big machine be upgraded to cut steel. So I get this question a lot. And if you want to upgrade, I don't know the machine. I would have to look it up. So I'm going to type in a Komatsu. What was that? A 6050. So I'm going to just look this up here. Komatsu 6050 CNC machine, and take a look. Okay, so what I'm going to say, looking at this picture, is no. I want to make sure this is the right machine. Yes, it is. Okay, so I'm going to say no. There's a couple things with this. I'm going to show you all what I'm looking at. And we're going to bring that up. Brought it up on Amazon. So this is the machine he's talking about. And can it be modified? So the first thing with CNC routers is with the spindles, they are designed to run at high RPMs. And when you're if you want to cut steel, then you are that high RPM that CNC routers run at will not work, because steel takes a lot more work to cut away. And so all that work is done by the spindle itself and the gearing ratio to get the torque that you need out of it. Now, if you want to cut steel, why do I keep saying spindle? If you want to cut steel at a very shallow depth, you could probably get away with it. When I'm saying shallow, I'm talking maybe 0.02, very, very shallow. You might be able to get away with it, but actually upgrading the machine in order to cut steel, I don't believe you'd be able to do that. There's very few CNC routers out there that can do well past aluminum and brass. So, and the main reason behind that is because the spindle speed. And when you're cutting steel, you're dealing with different geometries as well in your router bits. I do not carry bits to cut steel. So it's a good question, though. I see it a lot. You want to get a milling machine if you want to start cutting steel. A CNC milling machine. All right, from Gerald, do I have a video or course that concentrates on business? No, I have been debating that, and I've been wanting to do that. I may do some special live sessions to talk about it. There's lots of things in business that that require different ways of thinking, and there's different levels of thinking when it comes to business. So if you're a home person and you're getting into the space of making money with a CNC, then it is really something that needs to be addressed. It is a completely different way of thinking. You don't know it until you actually start doing it. That's why I was mentoring Kate for 10 episodes until she started to really understand that there is a completely different way of thinking about it. So I don't have a course. I've got lots of older videos that talk about it. You may want to watch the mentoring things, but I would also like to come up with I want to come up with a structure, like maybe a little mini course that can help beeline you into actually getting started in business, so that you don't have to go through a lot of mental work to understand the business mindset, and just get kick-started in it. Like this one example that I was just talking about at the beginning of this, where I was talking about Etsy. And Etsy is a great place to start, but you also have to have a website, right? And you start on Etsy, but ideally you want to get to a website because you want to own your customers. You want them to be coming to a place where there's no other competition. And if you're on Etsy, you're going to have lots of a competition. So you've got to look at those people, whatever you're making there. Number one, make multiple listings of the same product. You just need to give different titles, slightly different descriptions. Etsy works on an SEO basis. That's what that means is search engine optimization. So if you make cutting boards and they're American Patriot kind of themed, right? You want to make 10 different listings on your Etsy store with the same cutting board that has different angles coming into that theme. You can do military, you can do Patriot, you can do Trump, you can do Biden, you can do all these different angles you come in at where you are targeting multiple different people and are multiple different mindsets for what people are searching for. So that's one way to get around it. And what that does, that gives you a much wider net to be fishing with. So it's a very cool and smart way of doing it. Also, the idea of understanding your market. So I'm repeating what I was sharing earlier, is understanding your market, going after a niche instead of a broad market, just making stuff and thinking people that are going to like it. If you're making stuff and thinking people are going to like it, you are making stuff for you, not for them, right? And nobody cares what you want. They care what they want. So we have to think about who is buying it. This is the best advice that I don't really see much in this space when people are talking about business, is they don't talk about the customer, because the customer is the one we want to buy or to be our customer, but nobody wants to be sold to. They want to buy. People love buying. They just don't want to be sold to. So we do that by understanding their needs, their desires. What are the emotional triggers that people are buying? Emotions. At the end of the day, they're buying emotions. They're buying feelings. And so we have to get out of our own way in order to start to understand that. So lots of stuff when it comes to that stuff. But Gerald, I should start tackling something like that for sure. All right. That's Don Clemens. Question on V12, how can I show the dimensions on the drawing? Okay. So there's a dimension tool in the Vectric. I don't use it much at all, but I'll bring it up. And V12, there it is. So let's dump these things and let's make a box and close that. And the dimension tool is, okay, so under edit options, there's a measuring tool there. And where's the dimension tool? I haven't even looked for the dimension tool in V12. Oh, right there. So it's under create vectors, the second row, all the way at the end. So you have the polyline, draw arc, freehand, texture, and then you have the dimension there. You click that and you're going to open up the dimension dialog box, and you can select the types of dimensions that you want it to do, which is just a length dimension, vertical, horizontal, angle, or arc, and then make some other settings down below, and then you can click the item and it will bring your dimension in just like that. So you've got some dimension capability in the Vectric software. Now, mind you, it is not strong. It's not strong dimension, meaning it's not like at the engineering level, right? Vectric, when I talked to Vectric, and I've talked to them several times, they designed the Vectric software more for like what we do for more, I can't remember the word they use. They don't design it for engineering work. They design it for more graphic work. So that's why it doesn't have a very strong dimension tool in it. All right. So Before we go on, I just want to remind you, first of all, I'm sending an email out tomorrow to the CNC Insiders. And that's the email list for IDC Woodcraft. I'm releasing the calipers next Friday, specifically at 5:30 p.m. And so we're doing the golden ticket thing. All right. So there's going to be 800 sets I have, and 10 of those are going to have golden tickets in them. The golden ticket winners, they're randomly put in the thing, so we don't know who's getting it. But you'll have a $200 shopping spree with a 15% discount at IDC Woodcraft and a couple other nice little treats. And I'll remind you, get the checklist. Julianne, throw this in the, or Liberty, throw this in the comments, please. This is going to save you from mistakes. It's going to make sure that you zeroed your bit, which is right here. It's going to make sure you've got the right router bits in a good shape right there. It's going to make sure your material sizes are all checked and you correlated everything with your design, and just got all kinds of things on here. This is all stuff we do anyway, and double checks. Get that and use it religiously. It'll save you a lot of unfortunate and frustrating mistakes. All right, Josh, bot file. If a file was made in Vectric version 12 and the customer has version 11, would the file be able to be edited or worked on in version 11, I'm assuming? Is Vectric backward playable with no? So according to Kyle, it does not. Now I could actually try it because I got both of them open right now. So I'm going to just I'm going to take that rectangle I just created and I'm going to save it. I'm going to see if I can prove this, whether it works or not. So I'm not going to do a screen share because I'd have to pop through screens. But so I just saved that little rectangle we put a dimension on, and now I'm going to close that file, and we are going to go back to version 11, and I am going to 11.5, and I'm going to import or open an existing file. And there it is. It says a file made, you may have changes to new. Do you want to save? Okay, cancel that. It does see it. So I'm going to say, all right, so there's the answer. The answer is no. It does not work backwards. I got a big pop-up that says failed to open file. This file is written by a later version of the Vectric program. To read this file, you'll need the later version. So there's your answer. And Kyle said that last week, but now I've got hard proof. I can't take that. I can't make something, take something back. I took it from 12 to 11.5. So it's kind of a bummer. You can always work forward, but you can't work backwards. All right, Josh. How do you price for CNC work? Some CNC can run faster than others, being upgraded in more powerful stepper motors, spindle versus trim router, etc. Okay. So when you're starting out in business, you work with what you have. Don't worry about like you got to upgrade everything to make it all run faster. That's the way I'm reading this. This speed is not the thing that's going to get you there. Intention is what's going to get you there. And you work on the speed later. By the way, I am testing feeds and speeds for M&Ms. So going about 1 a minute. So how to price for CNC work. So I'm going to give you a 2-part answer to this. Number one is, like, you can price your stuff based on what everybody else does, right? You go to Etsy and you see that 90% of cutting boards are in the $50 to $80 range, which is stupid, ridiculously small. And you think you need to be in that mass. Well, now you're in the masses. You're in the damn, I can't remember the word. But you're where everybody else is at. So the idea is what I'm going to say is to a degree, take your mind off the mechanical process, meaning how long does it take to run? How much does the material cost? And get your mind onto the idea of who's a better customer, who's a customer that's going to pay more for this. And hey, Mark's just jumped in. Hi, Mark.
Am I just say goodbye?
Oh, yep. I'll see you. Bye.
Later.
Yeah.
I apologize. I'd fired up it was like had been on the fire for like 10 minutes when you sent me the message. I'm like, oh no.
Dude, I would have been the same way. I was envying you. Anyway, I might if I was any closer, I would have said, Kate, you got the show. I'm
really?
rocking and rolling. I'm going out to Mark's. Yeah. But yeah, I was just finishing up answering a question about.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no big deal. No big deal. So what you want to be looking for is not so much how you should price it, but how you can find the market that's going to pay more for it. And it goes back to this idea of there are different levels of buyers. You have and I like to use the Dollar General buyers. Those are the ones that are the bottom feeders, right? There's your Walmart buyers. They're always looking for the sales, the cheaper places to buy. Then you're getting into your Kroger buyers, who are generally, they have a little more higher standards and what they pay. They're willing to pay more for their food or their CNC projects or things that mean something to them. And then what's the highest end? Trader Joe's or something like that. You're getting into pretty high end markets, and people are going there because of a value. All right, they're going there not for the prices. They're going there for different reasons. It's the thing that's selling the thing. It's the Trader Joe's has a status to it, and it's also if it's Trader Joe's, whatever is higher than Kroger's, and people are willing to pay more for different reasons other than money. So the idea when it comes to pricing your stuff, you obviously want to recover your cost. And it's a good idea to know that. But this is where it comes back to understanding your market first. I have a very clear picture of the market that I deal with, meaning I'm a teacher on YouTube, and I get mentored. I have a mentor. I've been under my mentor for 5 years. I pay him a lot of money to teach me what he's got in his head, but he has taught me to pay very close attention to my market. So as I was getting to CNC, I just very aware, and I understand the challenges we go through when we go into retirement or coming to retirement. There's this part of us, especially of us guys, are going, crap, I'm not going to matter in the world anymore. All right, all these responsibilities that we had that people are calling on me suddenly is not there. And we're also thinking about our kids. Now we're realizing our clock is ticking, and our grandkids, and we want to leave a legacy, and we still want to matter in some new way, and we want to feel like that little purpose is inside, right? And so I've got this really dialed in, and that's just scratching the surface of who the market is that I am talking to. And if I can talk to them, then, I can and teach them and give value, then stuff returns back. And that's how you get loyal customers. That's how you build a YouTube channel, by giving value. That's how you build a business. It's all centered around that. So pricing, just recover your costs, know your costs, but don't dwell on it. Find the market that's going to pay more, that's going to honor and cherish and want to pay more. The final thing I'll say on that is there are people who will not pay less. So you want to find them.
Yeah, it's called Goldilocks pricing. This is too cheap. This is too expensive. This is just right.
Yeah.
Think of it like air travel. You have economy, and you know what economy is like. Then you have first class. You know what first class is like. You also know how expensive first class is. So there's right in the middle, there's business class. Aircraft sell more business class than they do first class. They're going to get economy seats. They will fill those economy seats. That's not an issue. They know
Totally.
that. That's a given.
Yeah, those are all the bottom feeders.
But you put that in the middle, it's just right. And sometimes if you price your work too cheap, it won't sell. So you have to price it like you care about it.
Yeah.
But you also have to, as you say, know your market. Don't try to compete with the big box stores. You can't. You'll lose every time. Don't try to compete with the big box stores.
And don't try to compete with what everybody else is doing.
Right.
There's a million people on Etsy selling cutting boards.
Right.
Every time we have an art show in town, there's 20 or 30 booths that are selling cutting boards. Right. It's, it's got to have more emotion. Whatever you're making, it's got to have more emotion behind it.
Yeah. And find that niche and scratch it.
Yeah. Niche is the other thing. So you popped in, how much does setting up the job factor into the price? So to getting down to the numbers, the hard nitty gritty numbers, since I don't do a lot of that because I'm more of a teacher than making product and building a production facility. What I will say is anytime you are spending time making a product where you're taking your time in there, you're going to account for that time. You're going to account for tooling costs. But the idea is to get the machine to run by itself while you're doing other stuff. Now you're doubling up your time. Setting up a job is part of the price. Yeah. There's the other side. Well, go ahead, Mark.
I know people that charge by the hour. I know people that charge by the square foot. I know people that charge by the job. It just depends on what you're doing and what you're. I learned a hard lesson in real estate, and that was anything is only worth what somebody else is willing to pay you for it.
Exactly.
What I have found is that if you ask a person what their budget is, I know what I can give you for $100. But if you ask a person, well, what were you looking to spend? And a lot of times they'll surprise you. Well, I don't want to go above 300. Okay, now I can work with you. I know what I can give you for 300. Now we can start playing with ideas. But again, you do have to factor in that design time because that is your time and your labor has value. If it's going to take you 40 hours to design a project, you have to charge accordingly. What you charge is up to you. Maybe you know somebody that can give you G-code ready vectors that will do it for however much money. That helps you out. Maybe it's faster to pay somebody else to give you the vectors that you're ready to just start assigning tool paths and go.
Well,
there's a lot to factor in.
Yeah, this is a good point that Mark just brought up. There are two ways to do things. You can either buy speed or you can spend time, right? And so spending time is doing all the work yourself. Buying speed is paying someone else for the skill to help you move along.
Right.
There's one other aspect though. You have to allot for learning curves too. If you're diving into something you haven't done before, you can't charge for your learning. You can't.
You can charge for your experience, but you can't charge for learning.
Right.
There's a reason a doctor charges $125 for 2 Tylenol. It's not those 2 Tylenol. It's the years of medical school. It's the years of residency. It's the years spent in the trauma unit at this hospital. That's what you're paying for. You're paying for the experience.
Yeah.
So
totally.
John Dodd has a good comment here. Cost and price have no correlation. Absolutely. I can't get my money back. I don't want to hear, well, you get your money back. Well, I've got my money now. Why would I give it to you?
Yep. Yeah, that's such a good quote. Cost and price have no correlation. I want everybody who wants to be in business, get this into their head. Burn this into your head. What matters more is the customer's lifetime value. But that's for another thing. That's another discussion. But that's This guy makes me go, yes. So yeah, it's Julianne, write that down. I wanna pin that up on my thing. Drink. Right. You have to give Ben every time I bring up Julianne, it's drinking time. Hey Ben, gave a super sticker $50. Wow, very generous. Super generous.
You rock, man.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we had a email dialogue with him, and Ben, I talked to you last week on the phone, or there was some issue going on. I can't remember. Too much stuff being packed in there, my brother. But thank you so much. This name does pop out. We did have some kind of talk, and I apologize, Ben. I'm not pulling it right out right now. Anyway, the way Ben did that on the IDC Woodcraft channel, just below it, there's a little money symbol, and you click that, and made a contribution. And very, very generous doing that. Rob Schuster is on. I didn't see that because I wasn't into the live dialogue. Hey, Rob. So Rob was on here a couple weeks ago.
Another guy who rocks. Rob's mind. Part of me wishes I could crawl inside that brain and figure out half of what he's going on up there. The other half of me is scared to even ponder it because he comes up with some amazing stuff. He really does.
Yeah. Yeah. It was really cool looking at the machine that he came up with and the drums that he turns. That was actually a really good show. If you weren't there, folks, you might want to go back and watch that. That was very cool. Oh,
yeah, I was there.
Yeah, you were there. You're always there most of the time. If you're not, you let us know. Robert, what should I be concerned with if I take a VCarve file that has a 3/4 90-degree V-bit and then do the exact same file and change the bit to a 1/2-inch 60-degree V-bit? Well, if you're doing a VCarve, what you should be concerned about is depth of cut. Because the minute you change that angle, the deeper it's going to go for that V-bit to touch the sides.
Yep.
That's what you should be concerned with.
Yep. It's going to cut much deeper. You may be surprised.
Yeah.
You may be surprised. It might throw up a warning that it's going to cut all the way through the material. But if a file was designed for a 3/4 inch 90-degree V-bit, I'm not saying you can't do it with a 60. You could do it with a 60, but you'll want to carve to a flat depth.
Yep.
And there's a lot of misconceptions about a flat depth. A flat depth will not force the bit to cut to that depth. It will keep it from going past that depth. So if you set a flat depth of 1/8 of an inch, 3 millimeters, whichever you prefer, it won't cut any deeper than that. But it won't force a bit to cut that.
Yeah. And so what you'll do if you have a varying cut line that's wider and narrower as it goes along, you may get a perfect V at some spot, but then it'll come out like that and you'll have a flat in there. So it'll be a V with a flat. And what I have found with the flat depth, if you are doing a lot of if you're getting that kind of thing, or you're getting a lot of wide Vs and then narrow V cuts, that I always set up a flat depth, because if you have some spots in there that the V is too deep, it starts to make the project look not so good.
Yeah, I agree. And when it gets to a certain width, I'll jump out of a 90-degree V-bit and go for a 120.
Okay.
Because that'll cut shallower, but still give you that nice V shape down on the bottom.
I've never done that, like a multi V bits like that.
Well, I've never done a tool path with multi V bits. It's just when I'm previewing, I'll check it, and if I think it's going too deep, I'll switch over to a 120 and then preview that.
Gotcha.
So.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay, what do we got? So that was a good question. I like that kind of question because it does point out things that people don't think about. That's why we create content, right? All this stuff is covered in my videos. It's covered in Mark's videos. Yeah. And I just want to say also, with version 12 has come out, I'm making a whole new absolute beginner's walkthrough video with a project. So to tell you the landscape, it's going to be about an hour and a half, hour and 45-minute video. I did that for version 11, but if you can realize that it's really the same layout, it just looks a lot different. For the most part, it's the same layout. They did change some things, but most of your design tools are the same thing. They just look different.
Yeah.
So if you watch an older video where me or Mark or Kate is showing an older version, you can pretty much follow that in version 12 and higher.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to redo my first, I want to say 10 in the Absolute Beginner series, but another project came in, huge project, and I have to do that first. So by the time I get around to doing the first 10 of my version 12 Absolute Beginner series, 12.5 may be out. I don't know. So it's going to be a while before I can get to it because this has to take precedence. So
Okay.
I did do a video. It's been a few years ago. If you go to my channel, you have to scroll way down. It's part 1, V-carving for the absolute beginner, how it works. And that explains all of that and how it is designed. The V-carve depth is determined by the width of the vectors you're trying to cut between, and how all of that works. It's not a very long video. It's actually short for me, but you have to go back pretty far because I did it like 7-8 years ago, something like that. I don't remember.
Gotcha. All right. Let's see. We got all right. Midnight Sun Woodwork. Garrett, if you click on the third 3D view, then click the corner box, the dimensions show up. Oh, so someone asked about dimensions. Oh, yeah. This is actually a great little new feature in the Vectric software. I love that you can now edit in the 3D view. And when you click it, so someone asked about dimensions before, and so I was thinking they were asking about dimension lines, right? Adding dimensions into it, and that's the way I interpreted it. But
click in the corner box. What corner box are we talking about?
I think they're talking about. Oh, that's the old version. I gotta shut that down. I think they're talking about the like when you draw something, it creates the beads, around the pick beads.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So where's my Vectric? There it is. I got that menu open. So
it used to, on the far left panel, it used to give you the dimensions of your material and all that other good stuff. You would get your width and X, your height and Y, and your thickness, but it doesn't show that anymore. It was down on the bottom left side. That is gone. So
you're talking about so let's see, if you click on the 3D view, then click the corner box, the dimensions show up.
Yeah, I'm not seeing what corner box.
Yeah. Well, there's a little thing way down in the lower corner that's showing some information here. Oh, that's coordinates. It's showing coordinates, but there's a width and height that's being indicated there, and layers all the way down at the bottom, the lower right. So we're talking left or right?
I don't know. Okay, he says draw a square.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So here's what I believe we were.
Oh, okay. I see what you're talking about. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we're talking about. So let's see if I can do it here. No, I can't do it. Oh, I got to go over 3D view. Clear out the tool paths. Turn them off, and that's not going to. That's going to give me some dimensions there. That's the boundary dimensions, though, the entire thing. But I don't. Is that what they're talking about?
Let me show you here in just a second.
Okay.
I'll screen share here.
Maybe I'm just not getting it.
Present screen, entire screen. There we go. Okay. Talking about, you have a vector, go over into the 3D view. If you select it, oh, come on, Mark, and go to resize it. No, not move it. let's do this. You will get dimensions.
Yeah.
If you draw, click off. If you draw a rectangle, you'll get the dimensions as you're drawing a rectangle.
Mm-hmm.
And you can get in and you can edit these. 4.5. I believe that's what he's talking about. And 3.5. Hit enter to make it, let it take effect. And there you go.
He put a big yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Now,
actually
if you're,
go ahead.
if you're just wanting to dimension the box, if you want to draw dimensions, that's up here now and create vectors. So you can click on that and, oh, come on, computer, catch up.
Mm-hmm.
It likes to do this every once in a while.
Did you notice version 12 running a little bit slower?
It does on this computer. Okay, I click on this corner, drag up my dimension, and there it is.
Yeah.
And, well, Control Z to get rid of that dimension. Length dimension, yes. I'll go here and oh, come on, Mark. Bye. Click here on this corner, click here on that corner, and where you pull up, you see that? Can you see that rectangle, that little pink rectangle?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wherever that little pink rectangle is, that's where your dimension is going to be.
Yep.
So I can get rid of close.
Yeah, I didn't realize you were asking about that. That feature, if they're talking about the 3D view, I love I love that addition to that.
Yes.
I didn't know if it draw a circle. Will it give you the radius of the circle?
Let me draw a circle here. Yes. Well, it gives me a diameter because that's what I have checked.
Okay.
All right.
And
but if I go up here,
well, there it is. Yep, it's giving you a radius.
Click on radius, it's going to give me the radius.
So click on a little exit out of circle and click on the there. Yeah, close the circle command.
Okay.
Okay, and then click on the circle. Okay. So you got the radius tab there, and then you got all the other
right. And it's telling me what that radius is, and I can still pull that out.
Yeah. So it's not giving you a dimension; it's going by radius only.
Right, because when I created that circle, that's what I had checked, that I was sizing it based on the radius. This one I had it based on the diameter, but I can still adjust the radius.
Gotcha.
So,
all right.
now let me check something. I want to check something just for me.
Yeah.
Okay, I cannot trim in the 3D view. Okay.
No, I figured that one out. You have to go back to 2D to trim.
Right. Now, here's another one that I'm wondering. 3D view, I've got these selected. How about weld? Will it weld them? It did weld in the 3D view. All right.
Cool. Just a couple of bugs. I did send them an email, and they they're still working on technical issues with the new release.
Yeah. Mark, the overall dimensions show up on my computer on the left side. You were talking about being gone.
Oh, I've got the dimensions.
You do have the dimensions down to the bottom left down here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Mine, see, I have my tabs on the bottom because that's what I'm used to.
Oh, you changed.
So maybe if my tabs were up here, I might see it. Now, you can, well, no, you can't. This was on a slide. I could move it up and down, but evidently not anymore. I don't know what I did to it.
Okay.
But I put my tabs over here, and I do not have that. Now, there was a lot of talk in the beta forum, the beta testers forums, about this topic, and that is how much space this takes up. And they really tried hard not to make it take up everything, but of course it did. Right. And that was one of the sacrifices. There's a lot about scaling as well, and that is a setting in Windows that you have to go into your display settings, and you can change your screen resolution and your scaling. I can't, and I see Brooks has said,
Yeah.
saying it's a screen resolution issue, Mark. I have to keep my screen resolution like this because on this computer, I'm sharing this so people can see it. So these have to be a little bit bigger, and my scaling has to be different from probably the way you're used to using it. But if I go back down to a normal size screen resolution, Brooks, you wouldn't be able to see or read half of what I'm showing on my screen.
Yeah.
So this is a custom thing for me.
My screen resolution needs to be like that because I can't see it otherwise.
Yeah.
All right. We're at the top of the hour, so I want to knock out these last few
You
questions.
can take me out of.
All right.
There we go.
So Tim is selling bulk items to a small local. If selling a bulk items to a small local retailer, when do you provide price breaks for bulk orders versus finding individual buyers yourself? So first of all, if you can get bulk, that's always better because you can. It costs you less all the way around because all you're doing now is producing. All right. So, but when do you? Let's see. When do you provide price breaks for bulk orders? Well, here's a little idea for you. You tell them I normally charge this much, but since you're doing bulk, I'm going to charge this much. You set the stage, set the foundation that you're already giving them a break. All right. But it also depends on, if they're buying 10 off you, then that's a pretty good run for you to make things, as long as it's not like too complicated. And that might be a price break time.
Yeah, it also depends on the product.
Yeah.
Simply because if you can set up fixtures or work locations and you can cut all 10 of those at one time, then yeah, we're talking a price break. I'll give you a price break.
Yeah.
But if I still have to do them one at a time, I don't care how many you're buying, I'm not giving a price break, because if it takes 2.5 hours to make one, it's going to take 2.5 hours to make each one. I can't give you a price break.
Right.
Because I'm working the same amount of time, whether I make 1 or 10. I'm still spending the same amount of time making each individual one.
Yeah. 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 And that's if you have your prices dialed in.
Right.
But if you build your profit margin well enough, then a price break isn't going to hurt you too much anyway.
Right.
But it's a good question. I like that question.
Okay.
But the rest of it is price break for bulk orders versus finding individual buyers yourself. Well, it's always less expensive for you to sell bulk than it is to go find each one of your customers. That's a time thing.
Yeah.
All right, let's do Robert is considering getting a CNC LongMill after experimenting with your Snapmaker CNC. Does the LongMill ever go on sale or discount? No. LongMill never discounts their machines, ever. They're already priced. They focus on making sure they're delivering at a decent price already.
You have to think about when things go on sale and why they go on sale. Usually things go on sale to move product.
Mm-hmm.
And that may be because they have a bunch of them in the warehouse that are just piling up. It may be because they're getting ready to stop making this particular model or something like that. But things, generally speaking, only go on sale when they start slowing down.
Yeah. There's multiple reasons. Yeah, there's either overstock or when the market is expecting a sale, right? Such as Black Friday, something like that. But I take part in it.
But if you look at a lot of the not all, but if you look at a lot of the Black Friday things that are being sold, they're not the items that are moving by themselves. So if an item is selling, why would the seller want to put it on sale? Unless it's a special thing.
Right.
So I don't know. I can see why you would put something on sale or give a certain discount, veterans discount or senior discount, things like that. I get it. But just to say, well, this month all of our doodads are 20% off. Why? Because
Right.
I got 100 million doodads back behind me in the warehouse.
Gotta get them
and I need
out. Gotta get
space.
them out of inventory.
I got to get them out of here.
Inventory is money. But yeah, at the end of the day, LongMill does not do discounts on any of their equipment.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's just not their practice. So from Mopey question: any plans to come to Central Texas anytime soon? You're retiring at the end of the month and burn a mean brisket.
Oh, you're killing me.
I know.
Brisket's my favorite.
Girls, what do you say? Should we head on down to Texas?
Why not?
We'll roll with the good old boys down there.
Are
eating
you
some
are you
brisket.
are you going to Austin for the user group meeting?
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go.
No, I'm
But
not.
that's
You guys have to
October.
bring me some back.
Julianne, get with the program. You think this is some kind of game? Come
I'm
on.
going to IWF. I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not going to
the-
IWF.
Yeah, we
I'm
have to
staying
switch
behind
off.
for IWF.
Some people's kids, I tell you what.
Yeah.
IWF. You send them to school, they just eat the paste. What can you do?
Right.
It was
Actually, it was
purple.
molding dough. That salty dough that you
Yeah,
make.
yeah.
Well, that was it.
Yeah.
It was the purple stick glue for me. It always smelled good.
Oh gosh.
You know, the sad
All
part
right.
is neither one of them deny it.
Well,
Okay, remember everybody, we got one more question here from Crimus, but remember you got to put your vote in for Julianne's hair color. So
Yeah.
Leave
It
it
was-
as is.
I was kind
You
of getting some good response on the rainbow highlights. So I don't know whether to highlight each individual color or just have a couple highlights that are every color going down. So
You don't need it. Just leave it
I'll
as
stick
is.
on
I
a
just-
wig
I
and
like
fake
it.
you guys out.
There you go. Come in
Look,
on
I
a
colored
bright,
it.
bright
I've got
pink.
about half the
stripe.
rainbow under my sink,
Yeah.
so we're almost there.
Oh, we got purple.
okay, let's get to the last
Oh,
question, but I just want to remind you all, get the CNC checklist, right? Save yourself some bit breaks and things like that. And get on the CNC Insiders list if you're not on it already. Julianne put links in the comments, and it's in the description as well. Lots of stuff in the description of the video. So let's do the final one. Crimus, good evening. I watched several of your videos, both of you. I wanted to say thank you so much for all your work. You guys are truly a blessing. Well, thank you. That's what we're here for. But that's what we're here for. On my account, I will tell you, I can't do it alone. I got these two right here that are doing it. They're coming and saving my ass all the time. I got Mark here saving my ass all the time when Kate's got her
when he
family.
isn't late.
Dinner is important.
Yeah.
Well,
I did.
you know,
I did forgive you on this one. I would have done the same thing.
it was a tomahawk ribeye. I had to. Sucker was that thick. I mean,
So, what kind of barbecue sauce you throw on that thing?
no, none.
None?
You don't. No, you don't sauce a. No. What did that ribeye ever do to you? No.
Oh, ribeye. I was thinking ribs for a minute.
No,
Yeah.
not ribs. Yes, I sauce ribs,
Yeah.
but a ribeye steak. No.
You throw a little salt and pepper on them.
Salt, pepper, garlic, and onion.
Okay.
Salt, pepper, kosher salt, coarse ground black pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, and that's it. And you do that the night before. Wrap it up in Saran wrap. Let it all melty in there, and good stuff, Maynard.
Yep. Here's one for you. It was a deer steak. It was and what he did, he soaked it in dill and milk for 3 days and cooked it on the grill, and it was one of the best tasting meats I've ever had.
Take the gaminess right out of there. That
It did more than take the gamey out. It changed the taste entirely.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
He gave a little piece to my dog, Lexi, who was alive at the time, and I've never seen my dog respond like that before. It was like that. It was such an expression of that was really good. Give me more. Barking, barking, barking. It was like,
give me more of that.
yeah,
Aw.
yeah. She had never done that before. All
I've
right.
only ever had steak one time in my life, believe it or not.
You've only had a steak one time? Oh, you poor child. We got to do
Liberty,
I know, I
something.
Liberty,
don't-
we gotta go. We got a mission, Liberty.
All
You poor
right.
child.
I'm
Yeah.
craving some deer jerky now, though. Y'all are talking about deer.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
I need
Okay,
some
so
deer
so
jerky.
I have to throw this out there. Tim says that Garrett has to color his hair purple, and that we go with Garrett's hair color. I'm
I
already
did
getting
color my.
white
I
up
did.
here.
I love white, so I'll take it.
I did my
don't
hair
want
blue
it.
once. I did my hair blue once.
You did? You have pictures?
No.
Okay,
All
so you have to do it again.
evidence was destroyed.
Yeah. See, we
I'm gonna
grew up.
double check with your family on that.
We grew up before cell phones, so there's no evidence to the shenanigans we got up
Right.
to.
No, this
There were
this was
Polaroids. I mean,
this was in the age of cell phones. Grandkids wanted it.
ooh.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, grandkids. Grandpas do a
I've
lot
had
of
my
goofy things
nails
with
all
grandkids,
kinds of
so.
colors and
Mhm. Oh yeah.
Ellen, yes, please.
And I don't care who you are. You may be a big bad Hell's Angel. You may have been a Special Forces Ranger, Green Beret, Black Beret, Navy SEAL. I don't care who you are. If a 2-year-old hands you a toy telephone, you will put it up to your ear and you will say hello.
Yep.
Them's the rules.
There you go. All right. Liberty, there's a
Aw.
message for you.
Yep. I was like, yes, Ellen, please.
Did I say Ellen was cool or what?
She is. She's
Oh yeah, and
amazing.
in answer to her comment earlier about my hair color, I've already had bright red hair twice actually.
I want to see. And Dan said, Garrett, take Julianne to Texas.
Somebody's got to hold down the fort.
I was gonna
take the
say,
notes.
Dan, you gonna come in and do the packages
drinks.
for the week?
Right. The two that are doing the shipping. So Liberty is the main girl, and then when she's out, then Julianne covers her. I don't even know how to do shipping anymore. I have no clue how they've got the system set up.
Don't
If I-
touch my
Yeah,
shipping.
It's a good
Exactly.
problem to have. It's a good problem to have.
I wouldn't touch it. I'd be on the phone. Liberty, help me. Julianne, help
Controlled
me.
chaos.
And then what they would say is, don't touch it. I'll be there.
Really.
Exactly.
Did you
'Cause they
touch
do, they-
anything?
Yeah, they've got a system. They got a tight system. All right. Well, we are going to check out because it is getting late. But venison, marinate 8 hours in apple juice and ranch dressing with a
under
good
the-
sprinkle of coarse black pepper.
Hmm.
Wow, that sounds good. Apple juice
I'm
and
wondering
ranch.
with the powdered ranch dip mix, if that would make a difference or if it's actual pourable liquid ranch. Even though I don't eat deer.
I don't know. Don't
would
pollute
do
the
ranch
idea here,
powder.
Julian.
What?
I would do
Don't
ranch
pollute the idea. I already had the vision of ranch dressing on there. Now you're putting powder on.
I'm just, I'm powdering it.
That works out good in some recipes. The ranch powder, it
Mm.
works in some recipes. I love to eat,
All right,
so I had to
well,
learn how to cook.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's time to check out for the evening. So we got some extra time. So everybody have a great evening. We'll be here next week with LongMill. Andy Lee will be here, one of the owners of LongMill. So be here or be square. Learn more about CNC, the technical stuff, all that good stuff. So say bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.